Yo, what's up guys? So today we're going to be showcasing off the new Shark archetype. This is something that got announced not too long ago, and I have seen 0 people play the deck. I haven't seen anyone showcase off the deck. So today we're going to be checking out, and this is going to be up against a person that is playing a Danger, Plunder, Patroll, which is the new Pirate archetype, and I feel like it's kind of a more of a fair matchup. While I wouldn't consider the Shark archetype to be like #1 best deck, it still is a decent little deck over here, and it really got a huge buff for the new Master Rule 2020 when we are able to go ahead and make Exceed monsters, Synchro monsters, and Fusion monsters not be required to be there in the extra monster zone, only with requiring the link arrows, because now you can easily go ahead and make Bahamut Shark and then grab your Totally Awesome much faster, because before you'd have to at least make another card, then make Bahamut Shark, and then you would still have to have that extra monster zone. So it was a little bit less consistent to go ahead and throw up multiple negate boards, and this deck can definitely throw up about 3 negates, depending on if you have to have back row. You can extend this even further, but for the most part, on average, if you want like a consistent number of negates with this deck, you can maybe kind of push out 3 consistently with just monsters, which basically comes down to multiple copies of Totally Awesome. And on top of that, I haven't seen this guy in a while. This is number 101, well, Silent Honor Shark, or S-Arc as it's called in the OCG, but nonetheless, this card is really good too, and it just hasn't seen some play in a long time. This card used to be one of the better Exceed monsters in the game, but I have a few different replays to go ahead and show off. These are all of the new Master Rule 2020 variants, so you'll see a lot more people trying out other things, because a lot of different decks can see some play now. Of course, well, without the Brilliant Fusion, this deck might not be doing so hot, Kappa, but nonetheless, it is still another deck that can definitely benefit off of the new Master Rule 2020 ruling, where, again, you just don't need those cards. So this one's a little bit more back and forth, so you guys can see how resilient the deck is, meaning that it's going to be kind of coming back. And then on top of that, there's a lot of really good cards that I just haven't ever see any play. Like White Salvation over here is a continuous spell card that says you can target a fish monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand, so it's automatically going to give you that 1 card. And then you can only use this effect of Whitefish Salvage once per turn. If this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you get to take 1 fish monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it. So that's really cool. They're able to kind of go ahead and recycle some cards just in case this card gets stopped as well. I think that, again, this is kind of what I would consider like the ideal board that you can make. Ideally, you would make this turn 1, obviously. So he's going to go ahead and make a Mistar Boy, beefing up everything. He needs to go ahead and make another one so he can finally get over the Block Dragon, because this card has 3,000 defense points, and it stalls itself quite well because it's only able to be destroyed by battle. You can't destroy it via card effect, so he's going to go ahead and activate Solemn. But this card over here is going to go ahead and allow him to add a card back to his hand, and then he's going to go ahead and be able to go ahead and special summon it. And then he's going to go ahead and try to go for an effect, and Ash Blossom's going to go ahead and say no to that. But eventually, we'll go ahead and make something from the extract that will deal with it. This is the Valiant Lancer, which can actually, as a quick effect, detach material from this, and then be able to pop a monster, but he's going to go ahead and overlay that for full armored Crystal Zero Lancer, which is finally going to be able to have enough attack with, of course, your Master Boy to go ahead and run over it. But if this card would be destroyed, you can attach material from this card instead also. And then the other important part of this effect that's really good is once per turn, you attach a material from this card to have all face-up monsters your opponent controls have their effects negated until the end of this turn. So basically, skill drains your opponent for the turn. And I think this is an excellent little card over here, obviously, with the deck as well. But I have a few different plays over here to show you guys. This one is up against Predaplant. Again, so you guys can see what else the deck can do, because I honestly have nowhere to start with this deck as far as recommending, what to go for. But it really seems like the deck is just geared towards going ahead and summoning Bahamut Shark over and over again, because again, in Yu-Gi-Oh! These days, you have to have things that negate. If you don't, then you're just going to go ahead and lose out. So he's going to go ahead and stall with a little Predaplant here, and he's going to go ahead and go for that Totally Awesome effect and be able to recycle one of the cards. And then if Bahamut Shark happens to survive, yeah, you get to bring out another Totally Awesome, but this card also recycles your card, so that's quite nice for that ability as well. So he's going to go ahead and stop it with Ash Blossom, and he's going to go ahead and use that Predaplant over there. and pretty much as long as this card survives, you should be good to go with the next turn. But usually they'll probably try to get rid of it. In fact, in the first duel with the Plunder Patrol, you saw the guy kaiju it, so he didn't want him having this effect once again. So it really kind of puts your opponent on a timer. Like basically, you go turn 1, you make Bahamut Shark, you try to get out double copies of Totally Awesome, or it's more so double, and if you can survive. If your Bahamut Shark survives, that is, then you're getting out another one and you pretty much win the duel. But if that doesn't go through, well, you still happen to have the Valiant Shark Lancer, which I think is a really cool card. It does require you to have another... it says this card's a quick effect if you control another Water Exceed monster. So you can pop one card your opponent has, but it becomes a quick effect if you happen to have another Water Exceed monster, which you should be able to have quite easy in the deck. And there's that Silent Honor arc, once again, saving the day, because sometimes just things have too much stats, or you go through all of your cards relatively quick. But one really great addition to the newer ban list, obviously, Sharks haven't really seen any competitive play, but Pot of Avarice would make them a little bit better because it lets you recycle your cards a lot faster, because you will go through your extra deck quite fast as far as like the key targets, which really just come down to Bahamut Shark and of course you're Totally Awesome. So you can go ahead and put back your extra deck cards and draw some extra cards and basically just spam the Bahamut Shark. That's all you're really doing in this deck, let's be honest. But at the same time, it is cool to see something newer kind of emerge and see some play. But this is our last one over here. Okay, before you guys laugh about Performance Pals, honestly, some of the rank up stuff is pretty nasty with, of course, the newer addition to that card. People are making Kali Yuga, which just completely just stops you from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For pretty much that turn. And that could be a really nasty thing to run into. This guy over here, before... You guys say, what is he doing? He was really relying on this Performance Pal call to go through, but yeah, you can't just rely on, like, no monsters passed, you're just asking for it. Although Performance Pal Call was supposed to allow him to go ahead and get double monsters, it's just not going to happen. He's just going to go ahead and straight up lose out because, well, he's just going to take all the damage over here. This card does have that awesome quick effect, detach a material, and then negate the activation, then take control of a monster. So with the play that you guys just saw with the double copies of Totally Awesome, and in addition to that, having access to F-Zero, you have 3 negates, and what's better with these 3 negates with Totally Awesome and like the F-Zero here is every time you're negating something, you're taking your opponent's stuff, so it's actually like kind of going +2 in a sense, because you're stopping them and you gain that card to potentially use. A lot of times though, if you're gonna get a monster effect, the monster's almost completely useless, but nonetheless, you could still take it and you can utilize it maybe for some rank plays. You can exceed even further, or even just add some link monsters into the deck, which I think could be a great addition. Other than, of course, Master Boy, I think still having access to like the Nightmare cards. In fact, Unicorn actually becomes a lot better with the newer ruling for Master Boy 2020. But yo, I gotta give a shout out to my boy No Wired over here for hooking me up with these plays for his Shark deck, because like I said, I haven't seen anyone talk about it, I haven't seen anyone really mess around with it. But there's another card I did want to mention really quick. Actually, there's 2 cards. A lot of this stuff just really comes down to just special summon, and then you can change like the level. But the White Mirror over here lets you target a level 4 lower fish monster graveyard and special summon it, then add another monster with the same original name, which I didn't get to mention in my video. But that's just an excellent card. Not only gives you Reborn, but then lets you go ahead and add another monster. And then there's Xyz's Revive Splash. I was even thinking like XYZ Reborn would be good. Bringing back Bahamut Shark and then bringing back this could be an excellent thing to do as well. But Xyz's Revive Splash over here lets you target a rank 4 or lower Exceed monster in your graveyard. You special summon it. If you do, it becomes water. Not that it matters because it's water anyways. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Water Exceed monster you control, special summon from your extra deck 1 Water Exceed monster that is 1 rank higher than that monster you control by using it as material. Treat it as Exceed summon, and you transfer the materials. So this card could be great too, just to go ahead and level up into something a little bit higher too. I like this card as well. But I really think that Nightmare Phoenix is just so required in like most decks. Although this one does play Twin Twisters, because you know there's still those people that play Mystic Mind. So, anyways, let's go ahead and hop right into the deck profile for this build. So, we got 2 copies of Aqua Spirit, 3 copies of the Cutter Shark, 3 copies of the Right Hand Shark, 2 copies of the Lantern Shark. Like I said, all these are basically special summon, and then 2 copies of the White Stingray, 2 copies of the Double Fin Shark, 1 copy of Tin Goldfish, 3 copies of Silent Angler over here, and then 2 copies of the Left Hand Shark and 2 copies copies of Ash Blossom, 2 copies of Instant Fusion. I still think that one thing that would be great, even though of course you have your Mud Dragon, is having access to the Millennium Eyes. It just lets you go off with your plays guaranteed 100%. And then if you want to, I know this card does prevent you, where is it? But you cannot special some monsters from your hand for the rest of the turn. As long as you go for that play first, you can easily go ahead and access this, depending on what, of course, trying to make. You can still go for other things in the deck as well. But I still think like Millennium Eyes Restrict, Thousand Eyes Restrict are still really good just for baiting out other back row. Because if you just activate this, I don't think your opponent's going to just stop your Mud Dragon from, well, this doesn't really do anything in the first place, right? But we also got Raigeki, 3 copies of the White Mirror, 1 copy of Moray of Greed, 1 copy of the Rank Up Magic, the 7th one, so you can sack your opponent over here with the, of course, the C101 Silent Honor Dark. And then this card is just there for the Master Rule. And then we've got the 2 copies of Called by the Grave, 2 copies of Twin Twisters, 2 copies of White Salvation, 2 copies of the Xyz Revive Splash, and 2 copies of Lost Wind over here. I feel like this card, while it does offer the ability to kind of come back, kind of like how Breakthrough Skill, like back in the day when that card actually saw some play, I think that you're probably better off with like maybe Solemn, because that stops multiple different things, and because this deck is very easily won by going first turn. This card, I mean, yeah, it does maybe stop something, and it does technically have that attack is halved, but I think that you could easily just go ahead and run Solemn, and then you could stop a lot of other potential problems like Dark Ruler No More, which could kind of disrupt your board over there. But anyways, for the extra deck, we got 1 Mud Dragon, 1 copy of the Fold Armor Crystal Zero Lancer, 1 copy of Silent Honor Dark, then we got 1 copy of Valiant Shark Lancer, 3 copies of Bahamut Shark, 1 Tornado Dragon, 1 Silent Honor Dark, or Arc. And then we got Abyss Dweller, a classic water card. It just doesn't see you playing well. This is like these 2 Xyz were like the kings back in the day. And then totally awesome. That and Castell too. And then we got F-Zero, which is one of the newer cards, and another copy of F-Zero, of course, to go into it. And then we got 1 copy of Master Boy. I really recommend Pot of Avarice in this deck. I think it could be a huge addition because, again, you go through your stuff really fast. So go ahead and let me know, guys, what you want to swap in and out in case any of you guys are more familiar with sharks. Like I said, I'm familiar with mermails, and I'm familiar with like Bahamut Shark going to this, but other than that, like, I just really haven't messed around with sharks myself, so it's cool to kind of go ahead and see something a little different here. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it, and if you are new here, hit subscribe and turn that bell so you don't miss out on new Yu-Gi-Oh decks. Regardless if they are meta or not, I love covering everything. And if you guys want to send me other replays of other non-meta Yu-Gi-Oh decks, I love checking them out. Send it into AzneyesReplays@gmail.com, attached to your YRP file, and if you have the deck profile for it too, that'd be awesome. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, and thanks again, No Wide, for hooking me up with the plays. But I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one. I'm signing out. Peace.